Hello, and welcome to the Child Care Business Coach Podcast. My name is Evelyn Knight. I thank each and every one of you for taking the time out to come and join me today. So today, let's talk about the rewards we see in life and people who seem to be super successful and who almost seem to have that Midas touch, right? Things just seem to work out for them. And sometimes it can be hard to figure out, why does everything seem to work for this person and it doesn't feel like it works for me? And so that's really what I want to dive into today. Why do some things really work for some and not for others? And yesterday when I was at church, I heard something that really just shook me. And I thought, oh, I've got to turn this into one of my podcast episodes, because what they were saying, the pastor was saying yesterday was, we admire the rewards, but we often don't want to do the work. And he referred to people who go to the gym, and we see these fit and trim people that look amazing. And we're like, man, I want that body. I want to look like that. I want to be like that person. But that person gets up every morning at 4 a.m. They go to the gym, they do the work, and they have been for years. And then we sit in a place where we want to be like that. We want to do what they've done, and we admire everything they've done, but we're not willing to get up and do the work. I often get that with my own career as well, where people look at me like, wow, you're just so lucky. No, it's not luck. I work to be here. I work to be here. It takes work and diligence. I do run my own companies. I have to have a lot of self-discipline. I have nobody to answer to except for my bills, of course. And so with no one to answer to, it takes a lot of discipline to get up and to do what I do every day. So one of my really good friends, my best, and you guys who are in my inner circle know Christina. She is one who is the perfect example of this, where she gets up every single day and she does the work at the gym, and it pays off. And we see the reward from the work, but she's so diligent as well about what she eats and everything she puts in her body. So at our summit, I had someone actually approach me and say, wow, I just admire her. She looks amazing. I want to be like that. But I have to stop and wonder, do people think when they look at her, what kind of work goes into that? What kind of dedication? And that is just with everything we do in life, right? Where you want to be is going to take a certain amount of work. We admire the rewards, but we don't want to put the work in. Think about that. Now, I do also want to say that I no longer believe in the hustle culture. I don't think it takes just that hustling and hustling and hustling. But what it does take is dedication, commitment, perseverance, and consistency. It absolutely does take that consistency. You can get wherever you want in life. You can. Anybody can. But are you willing to do the work? That's the question. And are you willing to have the patience for it to take years? Years. I started on my journey of entrepreneurship when I was 18. 18. Almost 30, well, it was 30 years ago. I didn't get here overnight. And man, did I have failures along the way. I fell down more times than I can tell you. And I have failed. And I still have bumps in the road. The difference is I don't give up. I don't give up. Most people go day by day. They just live their life. They just wake up every morning. They take a shower, eat their breakfast, get in their car, and drive to work. But there's no actual plan. There's no actual roadmap. They just live the same life over and over and over and over again. So if you're ready to break free of that kind of a life, it does take work. It takes a lot of work, and it takes consistency. But I'm here to tell you, you can accomplish whatever you want. I'm living proof of it. I am the daughter of an immigrant. My mother became a citizen of the United States after immigrating here from the United States. My father was actually a gangster from New York City. So my parents did not hand life to me on a silver spoon. In fact, when my husband and I first got married, we lived in a trailer park in one of the slums of Reno. But while I was going to college from the time I was 18, my friends and the people in my life were out partying. While I was diligently going to school and working, and sometimes I had two jobs. My husband was working, I was working, and going to college. And then when I was putting all this time and effort into my future, I was always intentionally building and looking ahead and thinking, okay, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be. Since I was a very young girl, I had a plan. I wake up with intentionality. And that is how you change your life. It doesn't happen overnight. So, one of the things I like to teach the most is how to reverse engineer the life you want. So, we're going to make this a quick episode. I think the quick ones are the most impactful sometimes, but I'm just going to give you a summary of how you reverse engineer your life. And I actually started doing this with my oldest son because he has some big dreams. My boys are big dreamers like me. And he was kind of struggling with how is he going to get this done. So what he did, and what I explained to him is we've got to break it up into small pieces, right? Because a lot of times your big dreams, the stuff you dream of, they just seem so huge and overwhelming. You just don't know how to do it, right? So you look at this huge dream and you think to yourself, it's too big, I can't do it. So here's what you do, just to help your brain adjust and to help your brain wrap itself around these huge tasks that you have for yourself. It's called reverse engineering. What I want you to do is, and do this for you, you are worth the time and energy. And I don't want to hear you don't have time. If you watch TV, you have time. Okay. So take a piece of paper, write out, if I had a magic wand, this is where I will be in 10 years. Okay. And where is it that, what is your dream salary? And please, I don't want you to say anything under $100,000. Nothing under $100,000. Okay. It blows my mind when I do this and people say 40,000. No, you're going for 100. Okay. So now, how are you going to get there? What is it going to take? What do you love doing? Do you want to be a business owner? Okay, that's awesome. Do you want to finish a degree so you can get maybe a director's job or something, a corporate type of style job? Awesome. So now let's reverse engineer. You've got your salary. What are you going to need to do to make that salary? Right? And then what we're going to do is say, in the next 5 years, where's your halfway mark? What do you need to do? Now, keep in mind, when you get closer, things happen rapidly. It starts to happen rapidly. So you may think that 50,000 is your halfway mark, but it really isn't. A college degree might be your halfway mark. Having your first business open and established might be your halfway mark, right? Not so it's not necessarily going to be 50,000, but if you make a list of these are all the things that need to be put in place before I can make 100 grand, right? So where's the halfway mark? Then what we do is we look at, okay, what do I need to do this year to get to where I want to be in 5 years? So I'm going to use college degree. Let's say you want to be a center director or you want to own multiple childcare centers, and you need a degree for it. Okay, so if I want to have this degree in the next 5 years, how many classes do I need to take this year? We're only focusing on this year. That's it. That's it. And then I want you to look at, what do I need to do this semester, right? Break everything down into little pieces. So, what do I need to do right now in this semester, which, let's say if college is not your thing, what do I need to do in the next 6 months? I've got my annual goal that's going to get me to my 5-year goal, that's going to get me to my 10-year goal. So what do I need to do in the next 6 months to get me to that annual goal? And then you're going to look at that every quarter. What do I need to do in the next 3 months? And then every month, at the beginning of every month, you're going to say, what do I need to do this month to get me to my quarterly goal? And then every week, this is something I do every Monday morning, either Sunday evening. And if I didn't get to it Sunday evening, I do it Monday morning. What do I need to do this week that is going to get me to my monthly goal? And then every morning, what are 3 things I need to do today to get me to this goal? Now, I want you to really imagine that. If you're doing 3 things every day to get you to your big dream that you didn't think was impossible or possible, imagine 3 things every day out of 365 days in a year, you will get to where you want to be. You will be able to achieve anything. The problem is we look at these huge goals and they seem so overwhelming. So if we can take these huge goals and make them small steps, you can achieve anything. You really can. I don't know if you guys have heard the story, but my youngest son, I've taught my kids this their whole life. I've been telling them, you can be anything you want. You can do anything you want. So when he was 18, he came to me and asked me for his business licenses. And so I was like, sure, I'll buy you business licenses. And then he told me he was not going to go to college. And me as mom, I was like, what do you mean you're not going to college? You have to go to college. And he said, Mom, just give me a chance. So I did. I just gave him a chance. And today, he is 21 years old. He owns 2 companies and has several employees. Didn't go to college. He proved me wrong, right? I mean, the funniest thing is he did what I told him to do his whole life. And now look at where he is. So anything is possible. But what he did was he just started small. Instead of looking at this huge goal, he just did small little steps. And he's still doing that. Him and I actually have meetings where I coach him in his business. And I'm just blown away how it actually worked. You know, go figure, right? As a parent, what I taught him worked. But he shows us that when you take these huge goals and you don't expect to have them done overnight, but you take small actions every single day, anything can happen. If my 18-year-old son at 21 can already own 2 successful companies and I did not do anything, I did not inject money into them, I gave him advice, but he literally would go door to door and he did what it takes every day. He took small actions to get to where he is today. You can do it too. Stop looking at the big, right? You have your big goals, absolutely, but don't just focus on those. Turn your big goals into small, achievable steps. It will really help your brain wrap around these huge dreams and goals. And you can make your dreams come true. My mother, as an immigrant to the United States from Honduras, told me all the time. She raised me every day of my life almost, telling me, you are so blessed to be an American woman. And she would tell me how in her country, women weren't even allowed to get an education past the 6th grade. And she told me all the time, you are so blessed. The world is whatever you want it to be. You can get an education. You can get a job. You can be whatever you want. And one of the biggest prideful moments in her life was the fact that she was able to give her daughters American citizenship, because that meant we could be anything. So the only difference between my success and where you may be stuck is the fact that I know I can. I believe. That's it. That's all it takes is belief. Belief. So I challenge you to question yourself, question your belief. And I also want you to ask yourself, do I want the reward without the work? It does take work, but it's worth it. Where else are you going to be in 5 years? Where else are you going to be? Where were you 5 years ago? It's worth the work. Don't expect the work or the reward without the work. When you're willing to do the work and put in that time and effort and energy and not give up, consistency over time, you will achieve your goals. Just don't give up. Have a wonderful day, everybody.